Well, as you can probably tell from that intro, I am still rocking the Michelin Man look. January has been cold, but we haven't had the same cold snaps as we had in December, thank goodness, because that was absolutely perishing. But we have got down to, say, -5, -6. And I just wanted to do a end of month review for January. And I think I'm going to do one of these every month just to see how things progress. Just financially as the cost of living crisis continues. And just to look at how incomes are changing, how things are changing. Yeah, so the weather is obviously, you know, we're British. We always talk about the weather, but the weather's really important right now because of central heating. I've had my thermostat set to 13 degrees because I've worked out that provided it doesn't get any colder than 13, I can manage with my slanket and my hot water bottle. So my thermostat is set to 13. I would say it's probably come on about half the time I've been here. Now my energy bills come in at the 11th of the month, so I did my readings on the 11th, and I'll go through that in a minute. And the thing is that I was away for 2 weeks of Christmas, so my bill looks pretty cheap actually, because I wasn't here. So it was only running like the fridge, freezer and a nightlight while I was away. Next month will be the biggie. That's the only winter month when I'm going to be home all the time, the whole month. So that one's going to be a shock, but thankfully that'll be the only one. And I'm hoping that the weather won't get too cold and then that heating won't kick in. So that's a fairly major one. But I've got into quite a routine now. I wear all my layers. The heating is only set to come on between 4:30 and 10:30 p.m. anyway. So if it doesn't get below 13 degrees in my flat, then it won't come on. So my bills, my energy bills are probably, particularly my gas bill, my central heating bill is probably a lot lower than most people's. And I work from home, so I'm here all the time. But yeah, so like I said, lots of layers, hot water bottle in use when it's really cold. And I've also started to wear a woolly hat indoors. And it makes quite a difference actually. I've really noticed the change in how I'm managing to retain my body temperature. They reckon you lose about 10% of your body heat through your head. And I think that 10% is definitely being retained by wearing a hat indoors. It's not ideal, of course it's not, but we're powering through. In a couple of months, you know, the heating will be off, the layers will be off, the temperatures will start to rise, and we'll forget all this happened. For a while anyway. So we're just powering through. It's like doing winter like animals do. They just get through. They stay warm, they eat, they keep moving, and they just stay alive. And I feel like we're kind of in that sort of situation right now, particularly with energy bills so high, and we're just powering through. One of my houseplants died, unfortunately, I think because it's just been too cold this year. But I've taken some cuttings, so I'm hoping that I can regenerate it into the next generation. But we shall have to see. And I'm not the only one who's lost houseplants this winter due to having to switch the heating off. So that's kind of sad. And it's a sign of the times that I think that has really made a difference to the way people look at their heating bills. But anyway, so I'm going to run through things in more detail, what my income's been looking like. January is always a slow month when you're self-employed in a lot of industries because people are overspent for Christmas, and January is a long month until payday. Although I think it's been fairly buoyant actually compared to some Januaries, and certainly compared to December, which was very quiet. So yeah, I'll run through all that, and then that'll be a wrap for the end of January. Can't believe it's the end of January already. Crazy. Okay, so I'm here at my laptop. I'm having a look at my energy bills, for the last month. My bills, I do my meter readings on the 11th of every month. So it's not like a beginning and an end of month thing for me. So that's therefore the 11th of December through to the 11th of January. Now, I was away for 16 days over Christmas, so this only represents half a bill for me. And bearing in mind, I only have the heating on when it dips to below 13 degrees. So my gas and electric came to £49.26 on the 11th of January, which is phenomenally high for me. As a general rule, my bills have always been under £40. I'm always incredibly careful with gas and electric anyway, because it's just me here. So this has been a bit of a shock, and I can only presume that next month, which is the only month that I'm home for an entire month during winter, is going to be double that. Now, I'm still getting the government energy payments, which I think everybody gets. It's £67 a month, and that money is paid directly into the bank account of my energy supplier. And then what they are doing is refunding me back my direct debit because I have enough in credit. So I pay in direct debit to my energy supplier £35.93 every month. And it's been like that for quite a while. My energy supplier is Outfox the Market, and they are actually really good. They haven't put my bill up for, it was sometime last year, and I can't even remember. It may have been in the April that it went up a little bit. So I still have about £120 of credit. So I pay my direct debit, then the government puts the £67 in, and my energy supplier is direct debiting me back into my own bank account the £35.93. And at the moment that's ticking over okay. Next month's going to tip it over, but I'm hoping that after that I will be away for part of March, so my energy bill will be lower then. And then of course we're into spring, and I can switch my boiler off at the wall and forget I had central heating. So I'm hoping they won't put it up again. But of course bills go up again in April, and even if you're not using your energy, it's the standing orders, it's the standing rates that cost the money. So most of what I am using is actually just the standing rates. It's not even the actual energy I use. It's just absolutely ridiculous. So I'm trying to use as little as possible. I'm trying to allow my energy account to go as much into credit as possible so that I can leave that money there, and hopefully through spring, through summer and through autumn, and then back into December, because that's normally when my central heating goes on at the beginning of December. I will have accrued enough to help me coast through. But again, with energy price rises coming in again in April, and then who knows what happens after that. It could be really expensive for using absolutely nothing at all. I mean, I'm practically paying for the privilege of being connected to the system, even though I hardly use it. My bill for last January, just as a comparison, was £28.23, and I've paid £49.26 this month. But anyway, there's only so much I can do. I only have the heating on when it's absolutely desperate. I have 2 and 3 kilowatt bulbs in the few lights that I use in my flat now. And I don't see why I should have to pay greedy energy companies so much money for not using anything. But what can I do? Except I can ask to be cut off, and of course that doesn't benefit anybody. So that's my energy bills. Now I'm going to move on to some of my other utilities, which I also use here. I have a couple of other bills that vary, one of which is water. I have a water meter here, which has been an absolute godsend, because it's one of the few things you can actually control that makes a difference is how much water you use. As you would have seen from the beginning of this this vlog, I recorded my morning routine of making coffee and boiling water. I boil 1 full kettle in the morning and fill 2 flasks, and that will last all day, so I'm minimising gas and water usage. And then I'll top up 1 flask for the evening, and the other half of that full kettle goes into doing the washing up. I'm really careful with water because, as I say, every time I run the tap, that's money that I can be saving. So my water bills are currently £11.93 a month. They read every 6 months, which is usually April and October. So that will tend to stay low at the moment. And then when they do the October read, that might be a bit higher, because with summer, I'm more likely to be using a little bit more water because we get really hot spells particularly, and I'm trying to grow veg outside. I don't want it to die. So there will be a slight change of usage there. But that's that generally hasn't changed very much. They've also been really good. Their prices haven't gone up. Council tax is £99 a month. This is the last month for a couple of months I will pay any, because council tax is paid on a 10 monthly basis. So that means the February and March, they don't charge you, and then the new year starts again in April, and I suspect those bills are going to go up as well. We'll see about that. What else do I pay for? I pay Peugeot £24 a month for my MOT and service package, which means when I take it in once a year, provided there's nothing seriously wrong with it, I come out not paying anything. That's a really handy way to run things, and you get a small discount on certain parts and labour for having that policy as well, so that's really good. My mobile phone package is £18.75 a month. That's unlimited calls, texts and data. I don't have broadband, I don't have TV packages, I run everything off my phone, and that saves an absolute fortune. I have a SIM-only rolling contract. I buy my own handsets outright. I've had this current handset that I've got now, which is a Samsung, since 2019, and it's absolutely fine. I've upgraded my external phone memory, because you can put extra SIM cards in some of the Samsung phones. I had an external memory of 15 gig, but because I'm now doing these videos, I've upgraded to a 128 gigabyte external memory, and that's only cost me £10 on eBay, so actually it's not bad, and that's a lot of memory. That'll mean I can do a whole stash of videos or parts of videos. For instance, if I'm going away, if I'm somewhere where I don't have the laptop and I can't do the downloads, then I can just run it like that. I run a spreadsheet for my food bills because I want to know what it's actually costing me, and there are various things which help me get down to a low total. So I keep a record of what I would have spent if I had bought it at the shelf price, and then include the discounts that I get from the various places that save me money, and then I come up with an accurate total of what I physically spent that month. So January's food bill, had I bought everything at standard price on the shelf, would have come to £139.50. My actual spend for this month has come to £23.66. That's because I buy lots of yellow sticker food. I mostly shop for yellow sticker now, and you can get a good variety, and because I'm quite savvy in the kitchen, I can turn anything into a meal. I also use 3 cashback sites which offer discounted and often free foods as well, and they are Green Genie, Checkout Smart and Shopmium. This month I have saved £64.82 shopping for yellow stickers. That's the money I've got off the recommended retail prices, and I have also saved £13.02 by using the cashback apps. Within that as well, I also use Nectar points, and I earn Nectar points from 2 of my survey income sites, and I also get Tesco gift cards from another survey site. So that basically gives me free food, free points towards going to the supermarket. So that's why I end up with a £23.66 total. What I tend to do, I kind of think of speculating to invest when it comes to food. So I'm not literally hand in, hand out when it comes to food. So I'll go into the store, I'll pick up anything that's on a bargain that I know I can use and that's within my perceived idea of a discount is, which is quite low and quite strict. A lot of things, anything that's in a packet or a tin or a jar, will often go into the store, and then I will roll on the cost of that to whatever month it is that I use it. So some things might sit in a box for a week, 3 weeks, 3 months. I have things that have been there for almost a year now that are still just as good in the packet, but I just haven't seen necessarily to use it. And I keep those things stocked up because you never know when things are going to change. If prices suddenly rise again, there might be nothing cheap in the shops, or all the cashback apps might stop having free giveaways because brands don't want to give away food anymore. They don't want to do the promotions. So I don't tend to just use it just because it's there. I space everything out. I plan my meals so that I've always got plenty in stock. I've got plenty of flour, and there's tins of different kinds of beans and packet foods and all sorts of things, including fun snacks. If it's the right deal, I'll buy anything and store it. So I have lots and lots in stock. So I also roll on anything that's an unopened packet to the next month, and I keep rolling those on through the months, and I work out what needs to be used. So at the moment I am rolling on what am I rolling on? About 114 items. So yeah, about 100 and gosh, it's looking like about £268 worth of food I'm rolling on to next month at the moment, because there's a lot of accumulation there. But that enables me to be very strict when I go to the supermarket. And if I don't see something on a deal, I'm not forced to buy it because I know I've always got something else that's there. So that's quite a good start to the year. Last year I had a rule of £15 a month for my food bills. That crept up to about £18 by the end of the year because of price rises. I'm not sure what's going to happen this year. It might be a case of I need to have a couple of months where I just don't do any shopping and I just use what I've got. When I have lots of veg or fruit over, fruit I will bottle or freeze, and veg I will also freeze if it's fresh, so that I've always got stock in the freezer and it's just as good. So nothing ever gets wasted. One last spend I want to quickly mention is petrol. I try not to spend a lot of money on petrol. I work from home, so that limits things. I live in a town where most of the things I need are on my doorstep, so that's really handy. This month's fuel bill comes to £60.79, and that's because I came home after Christmas on the 2nd of January, so I filled up the car to come home. My car's really small, it's really economical. It takes about half a tank of petrol for me to go one way to my parents, and that's about 250 miles. After I got back, I saw that the fuel prices had weirdly suddenly dropped here where I live. It went down to 132 for a litre, so I went and filled up the car just in case prices go back up again. But I only do my really long journeys of 250 miles each way 4 times a year. So I won't need to fill up the car again now until March, even if I do like little journeys around and about. And I won't do many of those. As I say, I try to limit the amount of fuel I'm using because it's expensive. And if I was going out and using it, it would be purely for pleasure reasons. So if we get nicer weather, I will go out up to some of the walks out in the hills, and I would have to drive to those. They're not very far, maybe 9 miles. It's not a big deal, but I've got used to just not using the car and walking wherever I can. If something is within an hour's walk away, I'll usually walk it depending on what it is and depending on the weather. So fuel wise, I try to keep it really low down. Last year I spent so much money on fuel. I spent over £500, and I wasn't even doing anything unusual. That's just because fuel was so ridiculously expensive last year. So I'm hoping to get that right down, back maybe closer to what it used to be. But we'll just have to see what happens with that. Who knows how the fuel prices are going to change. Okay, my last quick roundup for this month is income. And this is why I'm so careful about watching my outgoings. I'm about £200 short on breaking even this month. January is often a slow month. I have various income sources. I run 2 Etsy stores. One is an upcycle, recycle fashion, homewares and jewellery making business. The other one is I sell vintage tools and other vintage bits and bobs. That's a short-term shop. I help my dad to sell lots of bits and pieces that he's having a bit of a clear out. So it kind of counts as income, but it's not business income because the money's connected to him. I also have an income-related benefit. I have working tax credits, so I get a small top-up from that every month. That is a legacy benefit which is being phased out at some point next year and is being replaced by universal credit, which I am not eligible for. So I have to find a way to fill that gap before that runs out. So I'm working on that at the moment. The savings that I have, which top up the shortfalls that I have every month and ensure that I don't run into any debt, I keep those in various not high interest accounts, but it depends on what you can get. Interest, of course, has got better in recent months, of course at the sacrifice of prices in the shops going up, but interest is interest. I've made almost £80 in interest this month, which, you know, every little helps. One of my other income sources is doing surveys, and last year was when I started doing surveys as a serious income side hustle, and it's been invaluable actually. I made about £1,500 last year doing that, and I was aiming to make £120 a month. If I felt that if I could manage that every month, then I was doing okay. This month I've earned £188 doing surveys. Some of that is because some of the survey sites are slow burn, so you have to earn quite a lot before you can cash out. So I had 2 sites which are the YouGov surveys and YSurveys, and you have to hit £50 on each of those before you can cash out. So they both cashed out earlier this month, and I've been working on my other sites as well. So I have all of that. Some of the survey sites pay me in Nectar points and Tesco gift cards, which then means that as well as it being an income, it's also basically free shopping at the supermarket. So I don't go mad and just spend them. I carefully use those within my food budget, and I also use the cashback apps against those, so that sometimes I might have a £10 gift card from Tesco, and if I can find a certain amount of, say, freebies or discounts on the cashback apps, I can get some of that gift card back in actual cash. So it all kinds of balances itself out. So as I said, £200 shortfall this month in income. That's been topped up by savings, and over the course of the year things hopefully balance themselves out, and that also depends on how the year progresses. So yeah, I've made about £850 in income this month, and that is why it's so important to keep bills as low as possible. Things will improve as the year goes on, because although energy bills are likely to go up in April, I won't be using as much energy, so hopefully things aren't going to cost as much. Banking up, you know, money in my energy account will help for next winter, and it all, you know, it's long term, but it all makes a difference. So if you're looking for a side hustle, if you have emergency savings, find a high interest account. I've had 2 accounts put interest up this month. One is the Lloyd's club account. That is now offering a a balance of £5,000 at 3% interest, and Yorkshire Building Society has just put their interest on £5,000 up to 3.35, and these are great because they're easy access. You can get to that money at any time. So if you keep those balances in, that will earn income, and over the course of the year it all adds up. I have other savings in some fixed term accounts for this year, which are quite high interest, and I don't think the interest is going to get any higher on the easy access accounts. So you have to try and predict how things might change, and I am a cautious saver. I'm a cautious investor. Fixed rates interest accounts make me a bit jumpy, especially when the system is quite volatile as it is at the moment. But I think the ones that I've got now, where I have money locked away and I can't get at it, will earn a reasonable amount of interest, and I still keep a certain amount of money in easy access savings, because you never know what's going to happen. In a couple of months my car needs its MOT and service. If there's something really bad that's happened and I have to spend a lot of money getting it repaired, but it's worth repairing the car, then I need to know that I can access that money when I need to. So there we are. That's the end of month. I've come in a bit short. It's January. It's no surprise. Etsy is often a little bit lethargic in January because everyone's spent out from December and waiting for payday. So hopefully things will get a bit more buoyant. I know that people are splashing out on their summer holidays and things at the moment, so I don't think people are being that cautious about their spending, but January is often a slow one. So that's my end of month, really. It's not been too bad. It's really what I would expect. I'm investigating a few more potential side hustle options, and I will keep reporting on those as we go along. I will list below the survey sites that I'm using at the moment, the ones that are producing actual results. They're all worth looking at. So give them a go. If you need to top up your income, you could potentially make a couple of £100 a month, depending on how much time you have, and what your lifestyle is like, because survey sites very often is based on lifestyle. I get screened out of lots and lots of surveys because I'm not buying a new car. I don't spend lots of money on tech and jewellery. I'm not going on any holidays abroad this year, that sort of thing. But a lot of surveys now coming through are asking about cost of living crisis and things like that. So I'm getting a few more surveys, and I'm trying to get into market research where you get a higher pay for, either doing tasks or, keeping budget diaries, doing interviews. If you get the right survey site, a 45-minute interview can net you, £40 or £50, and that can make a huge difference if you're doing, even one of those a month, and you need the extra £50. So it's all worth looking at, it's all worth doing, and I will keep on adding each month as to how all that is going, and hopefully that'll give you some ideas to top up your income if you're struggling, if you just need some extra few quid, or if you're looking to invest. So yeah, that's the end of January. It's over. Tomorrow is February. It's going so fast.